Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. As always, I am Teddy from the iTunes Fanboy.
I'm Tabby Cat.
My name is Alpha Day Wolf.
And as always, we are from the iTunes Fanboy Podcast, and we are here to join you guys on the Season 2 finale of the TIFP, even though Season 3 really isn't going to be much different, as we're also going to be on here as normal and everything. So, yeah, we will have some new guests
And
on.
I'm still most likely editing this.
We will have some new guests on, such as Jordan from the iPhone fan will be returning. Elias might be returning. And we may also have Grant from Kinda Average Tech coming on.
Sounds exciting.
So we have a few guests for Season 3, but let's get on with what we have now. First of all, Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro finally are coming to the iPad as a subscription.
I think that's very good.
I just recorded that video today. I am that late to the party, but I'm very skeptical about that, actually.
I'm skeptical too.
I have one worry about it, and that one worry is that I have a feeling they're going to do something like they did, like Adobe did with Photoshop, right?
Yeah,
I have
that's
a feeling
small worry.
that-
Or maybe.
Or with what Apple
Apple's
did
going
with
to give us,
the
junk.
what was it? Swift Playgrounds.
I'm not sure. I'm just worried that Apple's going to give us something that's like completely useless. Like a different version of iMovie.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. From the sounds of it, it's definitely going to be better than iMovie, especially from what I've seen in the advertisements. But time will tell if the feature sets match what you get on the desktop. I'm certainly going to be trying it out.
My main worry is that I'm pretty excited for Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro to come to the iPad. However, I have one concern. Apple should not be making a subscription. People just want to buy stuff once. People
right.
hate subscriptions.
I have, I could say, yeah, it's not good that subscriptions are becoming the normal, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone says it is, because, while it's going to be more money in the long term, for somebody that just wants to try it out for a month, yeah, $5 a month, that's not half bad for a, quick test of it. And then if the user ends up liking it, then, just going and paying the yearly subscription cost isn't that bad.
I mean, it isn't bad.
Yeah, I do have to say, the price they set for it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I think the pricing is very good, because considering Final Cut is, what, $300, right? $299, $300?
Do you know how much a SolidWorks subscription costs?
I don't even know what SolidWorks is, to be honest.
It's basically a CAD software.
Oh, like 3D modeling?
Yeah.
How much is that?
We're talking 4 figures here.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So, multiple thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And the concern
it's
with
not cheap.
And the concern with subscriptions is that you have to deal with prices increasing. You don't have to deal with that with just buying everything once. And the thing with Final Cut Pro is that you just buy it once and then you can use it for years and years and years to come. Like over time, let's compare $49 a year on my calculator. Okay, so let me share my screen. Hang on, sun's glaring right in my eyes, so that way I can't see.
You got sun? I got rain coming in like a few seconds.
Well, it would take 7 years to go over the $300 that Final Cut is. For 6 years it would be
so 49
$294. And then you gotta add in tax, so it'll
So
take about give or take
299 point,
5 years.
or technically it's 199.99 with the student discount.
Well,
Divide
I
by
don't think that a lot of people are gonna use student discount, but
4. So that it means that only takes 4. So officially, it only takes 4 years, a little over 4 years to be over, and that's a big waste of money because that's not because for only a little over 4 years, most people need to use Final Cut Pro for their entire careers. That's just a fishy way of doing
Yeah.
business, and I hate it.
It's not good.
I understand it for things like a music streaming service when there's constantly new music coming out, so you have to keep buying it over and over again. Like a subscription service does make more sense for that kind of thing, but for software, you don't really keep buying more and more of it. It just doesn't make much sense. And it's kind of a good way to compare Walmart to Sam's Club. It's kind of like that sort of comparison where Walmart is meant for buying just general groceries, but Sam's Club is if you need big quantities of stuff.
I was actually considering getting a Sam's Club membership at some point. Actually,
If you need to buy, like if you go through groceries pretty quick, then yes, Sam's Club is absolute. And you have a Sam's Club near you, then yes, go to Sam's Club. It is awesome.
Too bad my closest is like how far? 350, 400 miles away.
Oh, then don't go to Sam. Then don't get a Sam's Club membership.
I've been considering it for a different reason, actually. It's when I move out and move to North Carolina. There's a reason why I've actually considered the Sam's Club membership.
Oh, well. Yeah, Sam's Club, my family does have a membership there, even though it still takes us a little bit to get to our nearest Sam's Club. Because they don't build enough Sam's Clubs. Probably because only rich people. Probably because not that many people need groceries in bulk.
Yep. But, yeah, subscriptions suck. I hate how that's where everything's moved. Software is already annoying enough, and it gets even worse when hardware starts to become a subscription. Hardware just stops working if you don't pay your monthly subscription, and
eventually subscriptions
I get it, it's easier on the wallet, but it's still not a good thing.
I think the subscriptions can't go to this far. They just can't. At some point, streaming services are starting to notice this, and people are overall starting to cut back on useless subscriptions, and there's a lot more of a pushback towards subscriptions now than there was a while ago. So people aren't going to go to full subscriptions.
Yeah, I got rid of Netflix, got rid of Prime.
But getting back to the main topic, and one more thought I would like to add about Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro coming to iPad. Because Logic Pro requires supports a whole lot of iPads, being the A12 and higher. It makes me wonder if similar to how the iPads that got Universal Control were the ones that got iPadOS 16. I wonder if the iPads that are going to get Logic Pro are going to be the ones to get iPadOS 17. As think about it.
I really, really hope so.
That would be the iPad 8th gen and later, which mean bye-bye 7th gen.
Because, I'll be honest,
rocking the same chip as the iPhone 7.
I hate the iPads from 2017 and below for personal reasons. Just hate the things. So.
And that would also 86 the 2017 iPad Pro and the 2015 iPad Pro finally, and that iPad Pro now at 7 inches that still gets up. That's still somehow getting updates, even though it runs pretty terribly.
Apple gives Apple gives
15.
way too much support for their stuff.
Oh, I agree. I was just talking about that last night with my mom.
I say this and people say, "Oh, what's the problem with that?" It's so, people can get more hardware and keep their hardware longer. Well, the issue comes when, my iPhones that I bought this year are performing the same as iPhones that I could have bought 5 years ago.
Here's the funny counter argument I have to that, though. Um,
Yeah.
so the iPhone 10 is still getting software support, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
The iPhone 10 does not have some of the highlighted features that came in iOS 16, like continuity camera,
It
live.
still does.
Is it live text?
Okay, it still doesn't, but the core of iOS is still.
Well, yeah, to have everything software-wise, you would need an iPhone 12 or higher to have every feature.
But still, you have
Yes,
to
the
keep
iPhone
in
10
mind that
actually-
soft. You have to keep in mind that
I'm not sure,
that still the core is what makes the
I know
phone
what it
work
is.
reliably. And that
iPhone
there's
12 has Face ID with mask, I believe, and the 11s and below don't. And I think there's like one other.
Back before the 13 came out, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a few features that like the 11s and the XSs and the 10s lack, but I don't, I don't know all of them. I know OCR, that's a big one for me because OCR actually works much better on my 14 Pro than it did on my 11 Pro when I used that. One of the main reasons why I wanted to go back to the 13 or 14 Pro is because OCR was just not all there on the 11 Pro.
What's
in my
OCR?
usage.
What is that an acronym for?
Optical. It's the text function. I don't know what it stands for, but it's like the reading off text with the camera.
Oh.
Optical something recognition.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and again, I have a theory to why Apple is supporting their devices for so long. And it's a counter theory to what we were talking about earlier. If you think about it, if Apple keeps supporting their devices for so long, then this means that older devices can easily access their services, if they're moving towards services, that's what they truly care about people having access to.
Well, probably, but at some point these services, are not going to pay for all of Apple's stuff that they're doing.
They're not.
Because I know that Apple
Because
has
remember back when
a
Apple
lot of-
tried to become a software company back in the late 90s?
I don't remember that. I
Well,
don't know anything about Apple prior to the G3, really.
Well, so what happened? What happened was Apple got. What happened was that Apple started licensing macOS to other manufacturers, which yes, Apple did that. However, the Mac
Done it with a few
clone.
other products too.
What?
They did that with a few other products too. Remember the iTunes phone?
Yes, and that
I
failed.
feel like the
but-
iTunes phone was just something to hold people,
It was-
to hold people while the iPhone was being manufactured.
Yeah, however, the
the
main
most part.
point, however, getting back on topic here, however, Apple started licensing it to other manufacturers, but that eventually started killing off, but the other manufacturers started killing off Apple's own hardware, and considered given that Apple's own hardware wasn't that great, it caused Apple to go almost bankrupt, which is why Steve Jobs had to come in and become CEO of Apple again to save Apple, and that's why he went to the four box strategy, which is where the iMac G3 came from.
Yep. Well, you do have a point. The older the hardware, the cheaper it is. The cheaper it is, the easier it is to get in the Apple ecosystem. And if you're in the Apple ecosystem, the more services you've got.
And that's a sad thing because it's not because it shows how Apple's showing a lack of caring about their hardware, but luckily it hasn't affected them too much yet, as even though there are still some core issues with iPhones that need to be fixed, like that monstrosity on the back that's going to keep growing.
Yes.
They still don't.
That black thing on the front.
That's not an issue, Alpha. But getting back on topic here, the point.
Yes.
Well, to him,
is.
it's an issue. To us, it might not be an issue, but I mean, to him, that's a very
However,
understandable problem.
to get my point across is that there's always been something that iPhones have been doing wrong that people haven't really liked. And so it hasn't affected Apple yet, but it's just scary to think that Apple's going in this direction.
I think that.
But
I think
also
that
not
one
scary.
Thing, I think that one thing that we can all agree that Apple does insanely wrong. Everybody, take your iPhone, look on the bottom of it, in the middle, and tell me what you see. Because to me, I see something that should have been gone in 2017.
Oh, yeah! Yeah, I
An old-
100% agree.
An old, slow, useless port that is now found on devices from 2012 through 2022. And as much as I'm against the
2023.
What came out this year with the Lightning connector?
The yellow iPhone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I think, the EU shouldn't be telling Apple what to do.
They
right?
shouldn't.
But I think that Apple should have done this on their own years ago instead of waiting and forcing, or the EU, bunch of people forcing them to do it.
Because the
Who
EU
knows
is
how
just
much
going
longer
to.
we have
Yeah,
to
it's
deal
really
with this.
sad it came down to this point.
Because the EU is just because that's giving the EU more power, which means that the EU could do some more damaging things.
Yeah, they're also forcing side loading.
Which is
what's
a
going to be
huge
next?
caveat.
What's going to be next? Because
Removable batteries is going to be next, which of course means no wireless charging.
Well, it doesn't mean no wireless
No
charging.
waterproofing.
This Galaxy
But I'm sitting
S5
here-
was water resistant and it has a removable back.
Well, the Galaxy S5 also had wireless charging if you got the right backplate. You could get
Yeah, that
wireless
is
charging
true.
on the S3 as well. Hell, actually, you could get wireless charging on any devices if they have battery pins, I believe, because you could just connect up wireless charging, like the wires, I guess, to the battery pins, and I believe that would work. I'm not 100% on that, but I know the S5 had
I'd
those,
recommend against that, if I'm being honest.
yeah, I don't know. The S5 has those pins on the back, though, for like third-party accessories on the back, and I think that was one of the coolest things about the S5. You could, I remember the old HTC Evos, which you could pop the back off and pop in an extended battery, and you could put in like this thick back. It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that was back when Androids were actually doing something unique.
Yeah, now, honestly, most Androids now are just iPhones with, well, I guess I can't say with more
Something
issues
that's definitely
because-
not iOS on it.
Oh, yeah. I
Alright,
just
well
found the
then.
funniest looking phone accessory ever. Hold on. Look at that.
What am I looking at?
So, that is supposed to be a extended battery for an HTC Evo 3D. And
Oh.
the Evo 3D was a phone that had bigger cameras than... The 3D, I believe, has bigger cameras than, like, the iPhone
right
11s,
there.
by the way. So...
I guess HTC
3Ds.
predicted the future of the smartphone in 2011.
Oh, they also had dual cameras. So I guess that HTC
Yeah, I believe they were
was-
the first.
Yeah.
I gotta get an Evo. Maybe I should get an Evo 3D sometime.
The Evo, HTC Evo, and the Evo Shift were my first ever experiences with Android, that I remember at least, and they were two very bad experiences, to be honest. Well, the Evo wasn't that bad. The Evo Shift, the battery on that lasted like 10 minutes, so...
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, and I ended up swapping batteries with someone else in my family because I didn't have the phone activated. It was just like an old phone that was given, and the battery went from 15 minutes to maybe 30 minutes. So
Yeah, that's not great.
Oh yeah, that phone sucked. There was a reason that phone was only used for a year before it was replaced with an iPhone 5.
I
Not even
bet.
by me. That was why I got it. I got it like when the 5 was new. And then I got the 5 2 years later.
Well, I actually
That was
have
pretty damn good, to
a.
be honest.
Well, getting back on to our next topic, TSMC is having a hard time producing 3 nanometer processors for iPhones and Macs, which could lead to supply delays later this year for the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max.
Well, that's not good because that gives Intel some time to catch up.
And if we give Intel some time to catch up, then this means that they have some more money to spend bringing back Justin Long, maybe again, to be on the
Oh,
wrong
those ads
side.
were so bad. There was out of all the Justin Long ads that Intel hired him to do, only one of them was actually good. It actually made a solid point that you could not
Everything
argue
else was
against.
garbage.
Who is Justin whatever you just said?
He is the guy who played the Mac in the Get Mac ads.
The what now Mac ads?
The Get Mac ads that I did YouTube videos.
Oh.
That I did 4
Oh
YouTube
yeah.
videos
I thought you said
about.
something else, yeah.
Hello, I'm a Mac, and I'm a PC. Yeah, those ads. He was the guy who played Mac.
Yeah, I guess.
And also starred as one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite childhood movies, which I am a little too embarrassed to say on the podcast.
What is it?
Hey, editor Alpha DeWolf here. Yeah, we said some stuff, and you guys are not allowed to hear this stuff. And this right here is where the stuff used to be. Alright, now that stuff has been said, back to the show.
The next bit of news is that the iPhone 15 and the 15 Plus are finally going to be getting frosted back glass.
Yay for someone, not me.
I like the frosted back glass personally. I think it looks pretty cool, but I kind of like the regular glass as well. So it doesn't really matter.
Everyone makes such a big deal of like fingerprints in the phone space, but I don't think that's a big deal. I think if the phone looks good, who cares if there's fingerprints on it? You can just wipe those off.
Yeah. Alright,
Not
the
like-
next
Yeah,
news.
I mean, we get fingerprints on everything.
Yeah, let's not.
I get it
mention
all
Google's
over my
song.
laptop. I get my fingerprints all over other objects in the house. Evidently, car displays, since cars are now switching to touchscreens with the software on it. You got fingerprints all over that. I hate this piano black trim that they put in it. You get fingerprints all over that. Fingerprints just happen. Stop
even
acting like
mentioning
if we switch to a
Google's
certain
one.
material, it's avoidable all of a sudden.
Well, that's not even mentioning Google's Pixel 3, which just instead of fingerprinting it, it scratched.
Oh, yeah.
I had one of those phones.
It's a Pixel 3 though,
Not
so...
only, not only did it scratch, right, the case would leave imprints on it.
At least on iPhones it isn't that
Hey, no, they're
bad.
not technically scratches. You can wash it with toothpaste in your toothbrush.
Oh,
If you scrub really hard, the scratches go away.
who's gonna waste their time doing that on a phone? I mean, seriously? You buy a phone, yeah, I could
Oh my!
have bought an iPhone XR and had no issues. Pixel 3 wasn't the worst.
I
Pixel.
do not know what Google was thinking that year. That was so bad.
And they went and they switched
That
it out
Pixel
on
was
the.
so bad.
They switched it out on the Pixel 4 for like glossy on the black models, and then it was a whole mess. I think Google's finally back on the right track with the Pixel 7.
Yeah,
But who knows how long that's gonna last.
I've actually debated checking one out because it's been a while since I've used Android, and I wanted to stay in the know about both platforms, not just iOS.
Oh no, don't...
Buying one or
I
just
d- Alpha, remember what you said about being a mature person that needs to save up for a Tesla and to move out of Michigan?
That's why I said debating. Remember,
Yeah, remember that,
I said
Alpha? Don't buy
that. What did I just buy?
You know what Tylosip Tech would say?
Are you aware that he recently just picked up a Pixel?
I am aware of that, yes. Okay, but Tylos of Tech, he's starting to... His tech opinions are starting to get a little bit weird, though.
I wouldn't say weird.
I mean, he is
He
using
seems
an
like a
iPhone
nice
SE2.
guy.
I like the direction he's going.
I don't know. YouTube doesn't recommend me his videos, so
Well, I can at least confirm that he subscribed to me. He publicly mentioned it on stream. I got a shout out in one of his videos.
I know. I saw it.
That was crazy. Just Friday evening, I was washing the dishes. He uploads his Lucid needs to switch to Nax video. Halfway through, shout out to Alpha DeWolf for bringing that whole Magic Dock thing up on his YouTube channel. Like, I just dropped the dish. I thought I broke it for a second. Did not expect that.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a rush of adrenaline. That felt so good.
The biggest YouTuber that's subscribed to me now is Windows G Electronics with over 6,000. But he doesn't mention me in his videos.
Yeah, I did not expect that.
Alright, well, the next bit of news, which is also pretty incredible, is that Apple's finally going to be getting more and more out of China as the iPhone 15 series is going to ship from India, come directly from India, and be made in India directly at launch for the first time in the iPhone's history besides China. Come from another country besides China at launch.
That's actually going to be good for the Indians, too.
Hey, editor Alpha DeWolf here. Yeah, we said some stuff, and you guys are not allowed to hear this stuff. And this right here is where the stuff used to be. Alright, now that stuff has been said, back to the show.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that the prices for iPhones in India are stupid high to the point where it doesn't really make sense to buy them. And the reason why they're so high is all because of import tariffs. They put a stupid high tariff on the iPhone. So now that'll be made locally, that bypasses their tariffs.
Actually, it will be good for India. Actually, that's why it will be good for India and that's another reason why. Alright, the next bit of news is that the iPhone 16 Pro is going to have a 6.3 inch screen.
and that is when I stopped buying iPhones.
Oh, but you haven't heard the best
So
bit.
this is
of
the
it.
regular screen size?
Yep.
Okay, regular screen size. I'm like, why would they downgrade it from 6.7 to 6.3? That makes no sense.
Oh, but you haven't even heard the best bit of news yet. The 16 Pro Max is going to be too big. It's going to have a 6.9 inch screen.
Oh, you know me and big screens.
That's too big for a phone.
Nope, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's too big for a phone.
I've held one before. It isn't. I've held a phone that has a 6.9 inch display before. It's not too big.
Yes, it is. It's too big. 6.5 inches, 6.5
That's right
inches
up
is
my
already
alley.
pushing it.
I can understand 6.9 on the Pro Max. I just can't understand 6.3 on the Pro. People don't buy the Pro to get a big phone, so why are they making the Pro into an even bigger phone? The Pro
Probably to
Max
house
no
the
one-
camera bump.
Huh?
Probably to house the camera bump.
Well, that doesn't really matter, you know, they can do whatever they want with the camera bump. It doesn't matter how big the phone's gonna be. Camera bump's gonna stay the same size, whether it's, a 6-inch phone or a 10-inch phone.
Well, it's either that or they need more room for slightly bigger battery if that's what they're thinking of improving.
Which, again, is Tabby's favorite.
I don't know.
Which again, people don't really need because if you need better battery life on an iPhone 16 Pro or 16,
Just buy a MagSafe battery pack. That's what I did whenever I was out and had like 20% battery, and I was like, I'll just buy a MagSafe battery pack. And
There's another thing
that
too.
fixed
I've
all
got the
my
worst
issues,
battery
I
life out
guess.
of the three of us here, and yet works just fine for me.
Yeah.
and not to mention the fact that if you really need that much battery life out of a phone, you're probably just too addicted to your phone, as we say a lot. You used to say a lot on this podcast.
I'm at least grateful I'm actually breaking that addiction because I'm now placing my phone on the charger at 50%.
Hey, editor Alpha DeWolf here. Yeah, we said some stuff, and you guys are not allowed to hear this stuff. And this right here is where the stuff used to be. All right. Now that stuff has been said, back to the show.
All right, the next bit of
Yep.
news is that the iPhone 16 Pro Max is still the periscope lens that's going to be exclusive to the 15 Pro Max will also be exclusive to the 16 Pro Max.
Yeah, the periscope lens is something that I really don't care about. Without like Samsung's like fake moon thing, it's just kind of boring. Like I get that it's stupid for Samsung to do the fake moon thing, but it makes it fun, so I don't mind.
Yeah, my dad's
And it
actually really
makes
excited about the periscope lens coming to the 15 Pro Max though, so that's why he's going to be upgrading to that later this year.
yeah, like the S23 Ultra, the cameras on that were actually pretty nice when I tested it out. The lens though, it was it was fun to mess around with, but I saw zero functionality benefit in having that 100 times zoom, unless you're gonna sit on top of like a hotel balcony and spy on people. There's literally like almost no. It's like cool for capturing airplanes and the moon and spying on people, I guess. I just don't know why anybody needs more than 30 times zoom. I don't know anybody needs more than like 8
Yeah,
times zoom anyway.
Well, what if we want to
I'm
get super
personally fine
close
with the
up?
3x.
Well, what if
I
we
never
want
went
to get
past
super
3x.
close ups of, let's say, germs on our body?
Well, then at that point, focus distance becomes a problem because, getting
Yeah,
that close.
it will not
Yeah,
focus at that.
because
Well,
what the better thing that I'd say would be is just to do a macro camera like the iPhones, but allow more zoom to the macro camera.
that actually would be a good idea. As I kind of, I know this is weird, but I kind of want to be able to take photos of germs on my body. Just because
Hmm.
that seems kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Just know that there's a whole nother species of animals that lives on me.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of
You're gonna
animals that
have
live
to
on
get
you.
a. If that were the case, then oh boy, that's got to be one thick camera bump because you're gonna need a microscope to see that type of stuff.
You're gonna have to be carrying around a telescope instead of a phone at one point. I guess the S23 Ultra, in one way, was already a telescope. Oh, that cat looks so cool. Which
Yes,
one is that?
Orangey is being. Orangey's mad that I had to move him from my desk for my podcast recording. So I'm guessing he's now getting his revenge.
That is one of the coolest cats I've seen in a minute, man.
The next bit of news is a pretty exciting bit of news, which is that the Apple Watch Series 9 is going to offer a processor based on the A15 Bionic chip.
I
So they're
guess the
finally
Apple
getting rid
Watch.
of whatever architecture they were on before.
Yeah, the Apple Watch has been lacking in processing power for a while.
What do you need processing power for? It's a watch.
Long-term
Well, what if
support
you want to
because
run Final
my
Cut
Apple
Pro on
Watch.
your Apple Watch?
Well, my thing is like my Apple Watch is like one generation old, and I already notice a slight slowdown. And people keep Apple Watches for so long, I guess, because there's still people walking around with like Series Zeros, or as I call them, the original Apple Watch, because Series Zero is stupid. But like there's there's no reason to be stuck on like some old CPU. There has to be an incentive to upgrade because when the Series 5 and the Series 8 are very comparable, it's hard for people to say, yeah, let me spend, the extra $100 on a Series 8 or whatever the newest one is. I think it's 8.
Yeah, it is. Even Tylos of Tech went back down to Series 5, so that just goes to show you how
Why?
it wasn't.
No, he's back. He's back on his Series 7.
Oh,
He got rid
Why
of
would
the
he do
ceramic
that?
one.
because it was a ceramic Apple Watch Series 5, which I really do want.
I want a ceramic Series 2. I think the Series 2 to this day is the best looking Apple Watch. The ceramic one.
Oh, I want a ceramic Apple Watch so badly too.
Like the Series
I
7
really
in
hate the
stainless
ceramic
steel.
look.
I love the
I
ceramic
think it
look
looks
because it's
very
a pure
clean.
white, and it just looks so, and it's such a high quality material that it just looks so. It just looks so cool.
I think that the Series 2 was.
I just find it appalling.
I think the Series 2 definitely was like one of the best designed Apple Watches.
That's why I wish Apple made iPhones out of ceramic, at least on the back.
I mean, I like how it's like stainless steel, but it's not.
But personally, ceramic is more durable, so I think Apple should just switch to all ceramic on the back and sides because I think personally that's a cooler look. Even though there are fewer colors, but that would also be a good thing, as that would force Apple to go back to regular black and white.
Question for you guys, right?
Oh, I'd
Yeah.
hate that.
How much do you think a Nerd Crew certified refurbished Apple Watch edition 42mm ceramic case with white pebble sport band costs?
Way more than it should.
It costs $837.
What series is that?
Yep.
That's 2, I believe. It looks like
What
2.
the? That's almost as much. That's enough money to buy an iPhone 14. Most Apple Watch Series 2s go for like $60-$70.
Yeah, and that's refurbished by the Nerd Crew, so you already know some idiot's been messing around in it.
Oh
And
my
people
god!
purchased it.
That's like the 10,000-pound Mac Pro from
3 people
2013.
purchased it.
What?
3 people purchased it.
3 people purchased an Apple Watch Series 2 that
No
cost
way.
more money than an Apple Watch Ultra?
Somebody bought it 9 months ago. Somebody bought this thing 9 months ago. Another dude bought it 3 years ago. And I can already tell that he's putting the Apple Watch on a computer that's worth like $20 with a Beats logo, like sticker on it. And then this dude says no problem with the refurbished part, but it was missing pieces like the lightning cord and half of the plastic case that the watch comes in. Who is buying this crap? Like, what is the point in buying this stuff?
Personally, I don't think I want to know.
Well, the next bit of news is that watchOS 10 is going to use a widget-based UI, which I am so not looking forward to because Apple Watches already have such a small screen that you can't really fit widgets on it anyway.
Yeah,
I think that it's kinda cool.
I prefer the way it currently is now with
So do
my
I.
analog face that is not showing up on camera. My analog face and the grid view.
So, grid view, I have one problem with. It takes forever to find what you want if you don't know what you're looking for exactly. So if you're looking for, let's say, the workout app, right? If you don't know if it's like the top, the middle, or the bottom, you could be scrolling and accidentally go past it and have no idea. But with the, I guess, the honeycomb view, right? Like the, oh, wait, you're talking about the grid view or the list view?
Grid view.
I use grid view.
Oh, yeah, the list view is what I have a problem with. Grid view, I don't hate as
Yeah.
much. I just think it's stupid because with the grid view, it's like so easy to press on the wrong thing.
Yeah, I'm not the most fond of that either, but I do still think it is better ultimately
The
because
list view is like the stupidest thing that they've introduced for the Apple Watch.
I think
and
the list
used it
view
for
is
like
pretty stupid
3
too,
years.
The
but-
way I actually open apps on grid view is I I actually scroll to the app I'm looking for is in the center of the watch, and then I use the digital crown to zoom
Same
in on it,
here.
and that opens it. That's how I
And
open
I usually
apps on
keep all my
Chrome.
pinned app, all of my frequently used apps pinned on my Apple Watch, so that way I don't have to go to the home screen very much.
What do you mean pinned?
So I have complications for the calculator,
Oh, yeah.
calendar, weather, messages, temperature,
Yeah, so I
work
use my
Wait
Apple
a sec.
Watch.
Hold on.
battery.
I use two things on my Apple Watch, the clock and the workout app. And then I guess the activity app, but I think they're, the same thing, activity and workout. But I do not use any apps on my Apple Watch. Don't use it for any music. I don't use it for texting because my microphone's broke a few months back. And I have no issues with using my watch like that. I think that there is no reason why apps should be such a big focus on the Apple Watch.
I agree because the whole point of the Apple Watch is just to be able to stay in touch without having to worry about using your phone quite as much or carry
I
your
just
phone
use it
around
as a
with
watch.
you.
And surprisingly, there is no burn-in at all after a year and a half of usage on the Series 7.
My Apple Watch Series 5, none of my Apple Watches have any burn-in in them.
Maybe there's a bit of burn-in of it's very, very light. Light
Do you
enough where
use
if I...
always on display?
Yeah.
I don't, so that's why none of my Apple Watches have burn-in.
Yeah, and I'm looking on a completely gray background. There is nothing. There was absolutely nothing.
Alright, well, the next feature rumored for WatchOS 10 is that Apple is going to be bringing third-party Apple Watch faces to it.
I mean, cool, but I guess that the iUpdate dude or whatever his name is, Sam Walmart or whatever, he said this perfectly. He said this. He said people can charge money for this stuff. I'm not paying $5 for a digital watch face. The same way I'm not paying $20 for a Call of Duty gun skin.
Oh,
Oh my,
not
that
neither
is.
am I, but I mean, I'm not against the option.
I'm not against
think
the
it'd be
option,
cool
but I
if
am
Apple
against
had,
what
like,
people
a-
are gonna do with that. Because as Sam Cole said, or
I mean,
as
who
Good
knows
Morning
how
America
Apple's gonna go
labeled him
about
as
this.
Sam Cohn, as he said.
There's two ways that Apple can handle this. One, it's one of those things where anybody can go and do anything, right? Two, you're going to need to have a developer account and Xcode on your computer and all of this crap, like an app. Or they could handle it more like sharing watch faces where you create yours from this grid. Like this kind
That's
of,
what I think they'll do similar to iOS 6.17 rumors, as that seems the more Apple-esque way to do it, as there's no point in adding third-party watch face support if people are gonna charge money for the stupid watch faces.
I just don't really see a point in, making it some sort of a stupid, how do you say this? Some sort of a stupid marketplace. Like, Apple knows what they're doing there. They're going to take the 30% cut, which is fair and all. But with that said, Apple's going to be charging people for these watch faces, and that's just going to be stupid. Or people are going to charge people. Now, that's if Apple does this, the developer way. And who knows, Apple could say, you can't charge any money for it. It's got to be, you can't side load it onto the Apple Watch. Apple could say that, but knowing Apple, they probably would just lock it down completely to the Apple App Store, which would probably be the best way to do it to prevent, fraudulent stuff happening. But I think that either way, it's kind of a bad decision to go with. What do you think, Alpha? Because I feel like Alpha would have a lot of opinions on this.
Yeah, actually, I differ in opinions with the third-party watch faces because Some people have a certain set of things that they like to do, but well, there's not a lot of watch faces that actually are good enough to meet that whole thing. Like, it took me forever to find a watch face that best shows what I do on my watch, and I still wish it was better than this, if I'm being honest. But
Yeah.
again, Talos of Tech had brought this up. His number one wish for WatchOS 10 features, it's third-party watch faces, and he brings it up that it can bring more complications. It can bring more customization, basically. I just don't see how there would be a disadvantage in doing this.
I can see one
Like,
small
why say
disadvantage.
no to customization?
I can see one
could
small
understand that.
disadvantage.
One thing I will say is Apple does an absolutely terrible job at making their own faces. Half the watch faces are useless. Half of them have way too much junk on them, and half of them,
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
let's take the Vapor Apple Watch face, right? I'm not good at reading an analog clock, so I don't. Okay, now the issue that I see there, that and color, contour, fire and water, gradient too, and kaleidoscope. Those
Yeah.
all would be amazing, right? Because they're just very simple. But with that said, Apple makes it so they're only available with a analog clock face, and that alone just makes no sense.
Well, another thing too, I'm the one who prefers the analog clock,
Same.
but I struggle to read that analog clock on those watch faces.
Yeah, because another thing, they don't really give the numbers for all the clock faces.
That irritates me so much. I want that on WatchOS 10 so badly, even though I'm not going to be updating.
No matter what, I'm not putting
Oh,
this thing on the
I don't
Apple
need
Watch.
the numbers on the watch face because I know how to read the clock. But
I know how
my
to,
problem is,
too.
especially with the square ones, I can't tell the time with the square watch because, well, needles move in a circle, not squircle or whatever you want to call it.
The way that yeah, you're right there, right? But the way that I kind of agree with, I believe Snazzy Lab said this. Someone said it. Watches used to be round because there was no digital clocks. You had to have a round watch to accommodate the physical things inside of the watch, right? I don't know what they're called exactly. I had motors maybe, whatever, right? But now that digital watches are a thing, there's no reason to have a round watch, which is why the Pixel Watch is stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's
And-
not a good watch in my opinion.
And
One of
I
my
wanted to
friends
buy
likes
one
the
for a while.
design. One of my friends likes the design of that. Funny enough,
It's a cool design, but it's stupid. It's useless.
it has
Why would
it
you
has
make
such
it?
thick bezels and doesn't even have a
Why?
speaker.
What is the objective in making a round digital watch here?
Now, the one thing I will give Samsung credit for this, they make round watches, but they take advantage of that bezel. They use it kind of like a click wheel on iPods.
They quit. I think Samsung quit doing that though.
No, I hear they're still doing it,
Yeah, one of my friends has a.
at least on some of their watches.
One of my
That
friends
was
has
one of the
another
most
one of their
popular
watches.
features of the Galaxy watches.
I do agree with that, but one of my friends has three Galaxy watches, and I've seen two of them before, and they don't have that bezel.
Well, to my knowledge, they still ship watches with it.
Yeah, they.
But anyway, yeah, getting back on point. With the current first-party options, yeah, a lot of them are just bad to the point where these faces aren't unreadable, but the rest of the faces that are, they're just not really my style. Like, I would prefer some more... God, I wish I knew where my Sterling watch was, because I want a face like that on my Apple Watch so much.
So do I. Again, I kind of wish Apple would. Again, I think if Apple just let users create their own watch faces, then they wouldn't need third-party Apple Watch faces, since everybody could just make one for their own themselves.
Yeah, I don't see what the problem with third-party customization is, because, hey, if you don't like all the third-party options, you still got the first party. So I don't see the issue.
All right, well, we have some more bad news to talk about on this podcast, though.
Oh dear.
Apple's headset is going to be is supposedly now ready by WWDC. And I don't believe it, but it's supposedly ready. Yep.
I don't get the point of it. I just don't.
All right, and
I
the
don't
next.
understand how VR is useful.
Oh, and it's also going to have 2-hour battery life, so that's a pro.
I mean,
Oh, jeez.
for the people that it benefits, okay. Whether or not I'll buy one, I don't know.
But 2-hour
Not
battery
exactly sure
life. There's a difference between having too much battery life and having a serious lack of battery life. 2 hours,
Yeah.
even if they're not going to be using it probably for 2 hours at a time, still, that's going to be worse. That's worse than an Apple Watch Series 0.
Well, yeah, but the Apple Watch is meant to be something that you have on your wrist all day. From what I understand, the headset's something that you're going to put on when you want to use it and take off when you're not going to use it.
Yeah, but that's still not too great. However, something else that's even more stupid. For the iPhone 15, Apple is going to be releasing new USB-C wired earpods in September.
I don't see a problem with that. A lot of people like the earpods.
But I don't know a lot of people that do
Yeah.
anymore, honestly.
I mean,
My mom is still advocate for wired headphones.
Yeah, but that's
I
still
understand.
just becoming pretty niche, kind of like Blackberries.
Yeah, well, my parents, they still use wired headphones, even though both their phones don't have headphone jacks.
Yeah, well,
They're still living the
your
dog
parents
life.
also took years to switch to smartphones in the first place.
I still can't forget that one story where my dad tried to... He completely forgot the headphone jack on his laptop.
Oh, I remember that.
That was so funny. He's searching around the house asking us, "Where's my dongle? Where's my dongle? I want to listen to something on my laptop." Dude, just plug into the headphone jack. I don't have one. Really? Yeah, I don't have one. Okay. Then what's that hole I see on the side of your laptop?
Oh my gosh. I guess if the
At
USB,
least
I
he's
guess your
committed to
parents
the
could
USB-C
buy.
transition.
I guess your parents could buy USB-C AirPods in that case to use with their devices.
Yeah. I mean, I guess both their laptops have USB-C.
Yeah. But Tabby, what do you think about the USB-C earpods?
I mean, I think that it's going to be good for those who like the earpods, but yeah.
Most people at this point have moved on to AirPods, so
That and they're still cheap compared to actual AirPods.
it's still, but
I mean,
it's
yeah,
still
Bluetooth
kind of like it.
technology has gone down in price, but
It's like the iPod. It's like the iPod Touch 7th generation at this point when it was new.
I think the iPod Touch 7th Gen is the stupidest product that anybody could ever buy.
yeah, that confused me so much. I don't understand why they refreshed them.
You know the only reason? Do you guys know the only reason why the 7th Gen existed?
Because the 6th
It
gen
was
sold
to
well
get
enough.
the software updates.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know why they didn't just cut the 7th Gen off in 2020, or 2019, I mean.
7th gen released in
It was-
2019.
It was such... No, I don't know why they didn't cut the iPod Touch out of the store. It was such a stupid device
The iPod
fact
Touch
that
was
it
such a
used an
stupid
already-
device in the first place, since the iPhone, it wasn't
It was
that
using an
stupid, but
already
it's kind of like a
aging CPU
hybrid
also.
car.
Like, I mean, they were using an already aging CPU too, which it's like, come on, if they wanted to do it right, they would actually, change the CPU, make that, I guess, what is the A12 was the newest?
Or they could have waited
They
until
would-
September
I
and
think that
made
was
it
the
an
newest at the
A13.
Well, they couldn't wait till September because they only had, 2 months? Or no, 2 weeks, I mean, until WWDC.
Well, they could
So-
have still done an A12.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have put a better
You know,
camera
Apple
in
should've-
it. They could have updated the display to
Yeah.
something else. Maybe they could have put a
Even put-
biometric on it for the
Even
first time.
putting Touch ID on it would be a bare minimum requirement because, like, come on. No Touch ID in 2019 when basically, all the iPhones that were worth purchasing had Face ID.
Yeah.
Because my opinion here, the second that the iPhone XR came out, there was no reason to buy anything with a home button. Because the iPhone XR was a decent price point when it came out, even better after it was, a year or two old. And that phone had, it had Face ID, no home button, it had the, thinner bezels, and it had the notch, which people, like it or not, they were going to have to get used to it. People said when the 10 came out, oh, the iPhone, 10i, or what would, become the XS, would not have the notch. It's only, Apple's just doing this so next year they can remove the notch and get more money out of people. No, because we still have the notch. Sure, it might be floating now, still a notch. So no matter what, looking back to 2019, if I had a choice between, any phone, I would have picked the XR. Because compared to the Pixel 3 that I was using, the XR was just better.
What about in late
know something
2019
funny?
when the iPhone 11 came out?
Well, I mean, when I got the Pixel 3, that was in, very early summer, like early June, maybe mid-June, I don't know. But that phone, I got it when I could get that. I could get maybe an S10e, or I could just go and get a XR, and I would have been done with it. But yeah, I just picked the Pixel 3.
Actually, if you were to that decision that you mentioned before, the funny thing was that's what everybody picked. It was the best-selling phone for that year out of every single smartphone in the entire world.
The 10R.
Yeah, and then the XR, I have a XR sitting right beside me. I got this off some dude that I used to be friends with. You guys have met the dude.
I
That
had one
dude
for a
that-
week. I liked it.
Yeah, it's a nice phone.
It's
I don't
all
really
old now, but
like
it's not a
the
bad
screen.
phone. It's just it
I
needs
don't
to
like
be.
the screen, but I can't see a single pixel.
Neither can
It's
I.
Retina. People were saying, I remember one of my best friends when it came out said, it was like later 2018, I would never buy an iPhone XR. I'm going to buy the iPhone, the iPhone 8 because the iPhone XR's screen is equivalent to an iPhone 4's screen. And I responded, I said, I hated iPhones at that point, but I said the iPhone 4 had a good screen.
Yeah, it did. In fact, I have iPhone
Really
4s
good
and the
screen.
screens on them still look excellent.
Even me being an Android user that, hated all the iPhones because of some stupid petty junk, but the iPhones at that time, the XR, there's a reason it sold so well, because it was so good. XR was,
Yeah.
better than it should have been. And if the only issue to complain about with a phone is a screen that is still Retina, then you gotta understand that's a good phone. That's a really good phone, because right now, let me grab the 14 Pro, let me go off of the complaints that people have. Lightning port, camera's focus distance, cameras being too big, dynamic island being quite useless, right? iOS, a lot of people like to whine about, but that's only the phone reviewers. It's like,
That was the
The
same
10R.
year they released iOS 12 with all those refinements.
And then I pick up the 10R. Single camera. Great single camera. Lightning port. Still when lightning was acceptable. The notch. I'm not complaining about the notch. That was a pretty cool feature, especially to be putting it on a budget phone.
I really liked it.
Yeah, and then,
I still like
Face
it.
ID. Face ID. The battery on this phone, I remember, people said it was excellent. I didn't own a 10R for a little bit longer. So when I got the 10R, I had the 10S Max. So I, got the 10R for free, actually. Used that for a while. And, of course, it was locked to a carrier that I wasn't on. But I just really, really liked the 10R. It was a very solid phone. And another thing that I will say,
find
the
it weird
10R...
how. I found it weird how when it originally came out, I just wrote it off as, yeah, it's a little bit more of a budget phone. Not for me. Until I saw it in person, like, whoa. This is no iPhone 5C. This is no iPhone SE. This is like... If we were comparing it to 8 and 8 Plus, this was the iPhone 8 by the 8 Plus.
This thing actually brought a lot of meaning to the phone market because this phone was the phone that started the trend of making a cheap flagship, right? And without this phone, do you guys think that the S10e would have existed?
No.
Absolutely not.
The Pixel 3a?
No.
Now, what did the S10e transfer into? Right now, the S10e is basically the S22, or an S23 now, because that's out. The watered down flagship, or the Pixel 7a, a watered down flagship. And these, the 10R changed the market forever because without the 10R, we wouldn't have saw the 11. We wouldn't have saw the 12. We wouldn't have saw the 13. We wouldn't have saw the 14. We would have been getting, because I think that the budget phones are what allows Apple to make these more expensive phones so revolutionary.
To be fair, though, the iPhone 4, to be more counteractive, though technically the iPhone 8 started that trend.
Well,
But the 10R fully capitalized on it, since the 8 still felt like a step below.
For everything I can say, I think the iPhone 8 is just terrible.
The 8 is not a pleasant phone.
Because
Except
the iPhone
Plus.
8, the iPhone
Not the
8
Plus.
is one of
The
those
Plus was
phones
good.
that I can say is just stupid. What is the point? Right? It's a 7 with wireless charging and a slightly, better processor.
And
Why not just make the
portrait
7 a bit
and
cheaper?
portrait mode with different backgrounds.
But like the 8, it's just such a dumb phone to have. And then, I bought an 8 in 2019. And that was one of the reasons why I hated Apple so much when I had the S9. Or I guess I didn't have the S9 alongside the 8, but that was one of the reasons why I got the Pixel 3. Because the 8 just gave me such a bad impression on iPhones. And everybody said, oh, the iPhone 8's the best cheap iPhone. No, it was definitely not. Because the iPhone 8, I can compare to an iPhone 6. The iPhone 6, not a good phone anymore. And the fact that the iPhone 8 and 6 both ran iOS 12 pretty well is really not giving any credit to the iPhone 8. Wireless charging, better camera, longer battery life, different home button. That's all that the iPhone 8 had to offer over the 6 back then. Nowadays, software support comes into play, but still.
Mm-hmm. Well, I still know many people who love their 8 Pluses.
Yeah, the 8 Plus is a device that a lot of people like for a lot of reasons. The home button, sure, but
In my opinion, that's the best. That is the best iPhone you can get with the home button today.
Well, technically it's the
because the
SE3. That's the SE3, but
who's gonna sit
No,
around
that
here
thing
using
does
a
not
4-inch
count.
screen?
yes, the
whatever it
SE3
is,
counts.
4.7-inch
I
screen.
have an SE3, and it is better than an 8 Plus. I have both phones. I can definitely say
No.
the SE3 is better.
Well, I think that we can all agree. The 10R is better than both of them.
No, the
Yeah,
10.
yes.
The SE3 technically has better internals, but the 10R is better in every other way.
But can the SE3 do
Internals
Face
are
ID?
the whole story.
That is true.
Can the SE3 do Face ID?
No, that's
Can
why I
the
said the
can the
10R is
SE3
better
last more than,
otherwise.
Can the SE3 last more than like 4 hours on battery?
It has in my experience.
Well, you're definitely using it different than I
think
use
it's referring
mine.
to screen on time.
Oh, I don't use my SE3 that much. Though,
Because I'm not a heavy user, but the SE3, you know, the 10R just lasts longer than the SE3.
I
That's
agree.
it, right?
I can agree with
You know,
that.
there's
Though,
One of my
do you guys want
Can
to
the
guess which
SE3
phone
calibrate
filmed
a
my
TV?
latest
One of my-
YouTube video?
Can the SE3 calibrate an Apple TV? Nope.
Do you guys want to guess
Even
which
one
phone
of my
filmed my latest
coworkers
video,
has,
though?
Huh?
Do you guys want to
one of
know,
my-
guess which phone recorded my latest YouTube video, though? Because I'll give you a hint. It was not my 14 Pro like usual, as that was what my phone was about. The video was about, so I couldn't record it with my 14 Pro.
Was it a 13 series device?
It was a device that I have in my collection. It's not any. I didn't borrow a device from anybody. It's nothing you guys haven't seen before.
Is it the 8
It's
Plus?
that SE3, isn't it?
It's either the 8 Plus or the stupid iPhone SE.
It's the SE3.
Yeah. How Apple's still selling
One of
that
my
thing, I don't
coworkers
know.
has that phone, and believe it or not, he showed up to work at 33% battery, and it wasn't even like 20 minutes. He was already at 10%.
Oh my gosh.
The SE3 lasts fine when it's like new, but then when the battery degrades on that thing, those are the batteries that just degrade really quickly and don't last after they're degraded.
Yeah,
The SE3,
my
even though it has some better internals, it still feels so outdated to use. I recorded
Yeah, my
my
10R
video with it, and it actually looked okay, but still was not as good as my iPhone 14 Pro, and still not as good
Yeah,
as
my-
the 13 Pro. I can tell you that for sure.
Oh yeah, no shot, because it was sold alongside the 13 Pro. My 10R with 82% battery health will still outlast any SE of any kind. I'm willing to say my 10R will outlast an SE3 with a MagSafe battery pack glued onto it because it doesn't support MagSafe,
Oh yeah, that's true.
which is another stupid thing, a 2022 iPhone that doesn't have MagSafe.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The
Yeah,
SE3 is such a bad. Like, I was able to get mine for $280 only a year after it came out, when it was $430 brand new.
I had one for about a week. It was just trash. The typing on it was terrible, right? The 5G speeds on that, not 5G. I could call it, advanced LTE, but I guess LTE advanced already exists.
Oh, that's
And-
one point.
The camera was terrible. It was so bad that I think even like a Galaxy like S8 would do much better in pictures than that thing.
Yeah, it's
I
still.
don't care. You can say anything
camera
about the
hardware, I think it's
ISP.
still the same camera as the 8.
And the 8 was very close to the 7.
I think the SE3 too. I know the SE3 and SE2 have identical camera hardware, though. I don't know if my SE2 has charge right now, though, so not sure if I can test
an
that.
SE2?
Maybe sometime I might do an iPhone camera comparison, so we'll be able
Who
to
gave
see
you an
that.
SE2?
What?
Who gave you an
He's had it
SE2?
for a while.
Yeah, I got it for my birthday. I'll show you it.
I think I remember a bit.
Yeah, he's had that thing for a while.
Within this stack of 4.7 inch iPhones.
I don't know. I kind of think the SE2's okay though.
The
because
SE2 is
the
at
SE
least cheap, so that's why I like the SE2. But yes, this is my SE2.
And it doesn't have that 5G crap.
Yes, the SE2 is actually a decent value, and I was gonna get one for my collection anyway, just because of how cheap it is and how it's actually a decently, and how just because of how
I've
it's
seen
a
them
solid
going for like
phone.
$60 unlocked on eBay. Things are cheaper than dirt at this point.
Well, then again, it's a home button iPhone with a tiny screen, tiny battery. It's not really that
Bad
desirable.
camera.
That too.
I can only imagine the
That and how
people that are
old's
going to
the
be
phone?
saying, the phone itself, I say is from 2014, but Apple says it's from 2020.
It's from 2020. I remember when it came out.
I mean, I will say this about the SE, right? There is no reason to buy one unless somebody needs a brand new iPhone with warranty. There is no reason to buy that thing. There is one device that I will say. There's one device that I will say Apple shouldn't sell, and that's the S2 actually. The SE3 in the iMac 24-inch.
The SE3 should not be sold because it's terrible value.
You can sit there, saying, oh, this has this and that. Yeah, well, fact is, when you can buy an 11 Pro Max or an 11 Pro, if you're a fan of the smaller size, or, a 10R, which all three of those will do basically better than the SE3 in every regard that means something. I think that Apple's doing something wrong.
I mean, I even asked my
I need you
dad
to compare this to the SE3.
I even asked my dad before telling him which phones were which phone he found better, which phone he found more appealing to use, which is between the 10 and the SE3, and he picked the 10. You know how old the 10 is?
The SE3. The iPhone 10 is turning 6 years old at the end of the year.
Yes, it's such an old phone, but my dad still thought it was better than a 1-year-old smartphone.
I think that a lot of people would choose a 5 over an SE3 if they don't know anything about it, because the 5 feels more premium. You get that metal enclosure, you get, that really nice, sleek design, which made sense back then. Oh, and the same exact port, but...
That's true. Or you might as well just choose an iPhone 4 then, in that case, if people don't know anything about it, because people aren't going to know just as long as people don't bother to check their cell phone plans, and they'll find out that there's no ability to connect a 4 to cell services anymore. Then you could give an iPhone 4 to somebody and they wouldn't be able to notice the difference.
I guess that concludes my rant on these stupid iPhone SEs.
Alright, let's move on to our next topic, which is the Pixel tablet.
It's cool, don't get me wrong. It's cool, but why is it plastic?
It's plastic?
OnePlus Tab, I think so. The OnePlus Tab was metal. Why is the Pixel Tab plastic?
Google.
Magnets or something? No, but the iPads are metal. They have strong magnets.
Oh, it's for cheap cost.
Google.
$500.
Your issue. Google uses too much plastic. And Google claims that they're going carbon neutral.
The last time plastic was used on an Apple product, I believe, was the iPhone 5C. The last time Google made an all-plastic phone was the Pixel 4a. And the Pixel 7a still uses a huge sheet of plastic for the back black glass, but...
I thought the 5A also was made of plastic.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, probably. No, actually, the Pixel 5 and 5a were both plastic.
Yeah, the Pixel 5 was plastic too.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember
I'm
that
sure
from
the
your
Pixel
rant?
6
On the worst gadget of 2020?
I'm sure that the Pixel 6 is also 6A, 7A, whatever, has no metal in it, but the Pixel tablet is something that I would have considered purchasing, but now I think OnePlus is doing better.
I think the OnePlus tablet is just a bit stupid since it's literally just an iPad in a repackaged form factor and it's just a ripoff, but
I think
Pixel
some people
tablet
just
at
don't really like
least is
iOS.
trying to be its own thing, but it's just I'm
I
like,
am literally just hearing about the OnePlus tablet right now, actually.
oh, you don't want it.
I'll have to do more research on that, but
I did buy a new tech product last night though.
What is it?
Something that I'm sure none of you guys have considered buying remotely.
Oh no.
Steam Deck.
Oh,
nope.
not bad. One of my
I
friends
hear
has a
it's
Steam
hot
Deck
in the
and he really
gaming
likes
community right
it.
now, but I am definitely not a gamer, so I wouldn't care.
Partially because I wanted to get it now because there's like a 2-week wait to get one, and I'm going to be in a different state in a month. So,
I'm traveling this Saturday, actually. I'm heading to DC this Saturday.
oh, nice, man.
Hopefully I get to see more of the ocean this time.
Washington, D.C.?
Yep.
Nice.
Hey, editor Alpha DeWolf here. Yeah, we said some stuff, and you guys are not allowed to hear this stuff. And this right here is where the stuff used to be. Alright, now that that stuff has been said, back to the show.
Oh, jeez. I'm not flying again.
I'll be flying next month. Haven't flew in a minute, man.
Yeah, after my
One whole
last
minute.
experience at the airport, I can't go there again. The TSA is so rude.
I don't
Yeah,
like it.
I'm gonna be bringing a
I
bunch
don't
of
generally
phones,
like the
so-
complex process of of flying either, which is why I'm not gonna fly unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be bringing a bunch of phones. So they're gonna be like, what the hell does this dude have in his bag?
They might even check all the phones.
Yeah, that. Oh, jeez.
But getting back on topic, as I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of hate for this. Let's talk about the Pixel 7a.
Did we even finish talking about the Pixel tablet?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, we did.
All right, let me finish up the Google Pixel tablet. It can transform into a Google Home hub.
Just like a Kindle
That's
tablets.
basically the that's basically the gimmick there.
I don't see it as much of a gimmick because, actually, believe it or not, I do have to agree with Google on one thing. Tablets are not typically used in business use cases. They're most commonly found in the home.
So it
Yeah,
does
but,
make more fair sense in Google's part, but so I think I can see the
one other
Pixel
thing.
tablet succeeding.
One other thing that I think is really cool, it has the Google Tensor G2 chip.
Oh yeah, that is cool.
So Google is making their own ecosystem off of this processor, and I really like that because they're not going to, basically kill the tablet from the start by putting in some inferior Snapdragon 7 series processor in it. Like, I believe OnePlus
Well, just
did.
keep in mind the Pixel chip, the G2, whatever it is, still not exactly as strong as some of the other competition's processors. Like, it's actually technically weaker than Qualcomm's latest.
Yeah, but
But
I guess you could say it's a wireless charging tablet. That's cool.
The Kindle, technically Amazon beat
could-
Google that in that
Oh, yeah.
area too.
You could probably do it on an iPad Pro too, if you got the right accessory, but it comes with a ton of crap in the box, and that's cool. It also, unfortunately, has one thing that it just does terrible at. It has Wi-Fi 6. Why not 6E? I don't know. The Google Pixel 6 series from 2021 had 6E. Come on.
Well,
yeah, that's a
This is
fair
the only
criticism.
Pixel product. I believe this is the only Pixel product to ever exist to have Wi-Fi 6. Maybe the 6A.
well, what do you guys think about the 7a?
Kind of stupid.
It's another budget Pixel.
Like, I mean, okay, there's not much to say about it though.
I mean, it exists. It's got a plastic back. It's got some pretty cool colors, but when the Pixel 6 Pro is selling for $200 on the used market, I don't expect this to sell for more than $70 in a year on the used
Yeah,
market.
personally, I'd buy the 6 Pro over the 7A.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, the
one thing
Pixel
that
6
I-
is that Pro is that cheap?
yeah.
Oh,
I will
maybe
say,
somebody will have to
like-
get a Pixel 5 and maybe somebody can complete a Pixel collection.
No, but I will say this though, right? Don't get me wrong. There's one thing that this device does very well. That is Wi-Fi 6E. For network people, network enthusiasts, people that just want the fastest speed on a phone. This is a pretty good price for a device with 6E. Then again, 6 Pro also had 6E, but can't buy a 6 Pro new. It also has decent specs. It's got 8 gigs of RAM. That's not half bad. It's got USB-C 3.2 Gen 2.
Yeah, that's fine for an Android.
It's, you can also say...
Better than what
it's-
iPhones will ship when they get USB-C.
Well, some iPhones will get USB-C 3.2 speeds. The Pro
Probably not
ones
the one I
will.
would buy.
Except the base
But,
ones.
Oh wait, like the base or?
Yeah,
Maybe
like
one
the
that I buy
15
will.
and 15 Plus.
Yeah, but another thing this phone does good, it's got real 5G. That's good. That's something that you
5G is
Don't
not good to
see-
me, so...
But the SE3 doesn't have
Like-
real 5G, so...
yeah.
5G
battery life
isn't
on
even
this-
real to me.
5G on this. That's cool. It's also got wireless charging. That's an upgrade over the Pixel 6a. It's, Qi certified. According to MKBHD, it's a bit slower, but the battery on this is apparently 4,300 milliamp hours.
This
That
on the
is a
7A?
huge. Yeah, iPhone 14 Pro, last
That's
time I
pretty good.
checked, was 3,200 milliamp hours.
Hmm.
And
That's a pretty decent size, not gonna lie.
it's in a 6.1 inch phone, so it's the same exact display size as the 14 Pro. So, whether or not the efficiency is all there with the Tensor G2, I don't know, but that's right, it's got the Tensor G2. That is really cool. Every Pixel that they sell right now, I believe, has the G2. And I believe it also has, get this, a 90 hertz display.
Oh, Apple, please bring promotion to your lower end iPhones. We need promotion.
Yes.
Yeah, it has 90
Yes.
hertz. Got HDR too, so I'd
We
say
need promotion, Apple. I don't care. People are
it's
gonna
not a
notice
phone
that-
that I would buy, right? But I would not hesitate to recommend this to people that want a new Pixel.
I'm gonna be honest. Neither will I.
I'd say, if you don't like iPhones, but you want something close to an iPhone, the Pixel is spot on. In this phone,
I'm really gonna
is
stop
spot on.
recommending Samsungs at this point.
Oh yeah, because you look at the Pixel 7, those phones are nice. Google
They're
is
nice, but
doing
they're just
a really
boring.
good job on the Pixels. I know Google kind of did the Pixel bad back in 2019, 2020, but since the
Oh, they
6,
did it terrible even before then.
the Pixel, I'm gonna look
that
at the
OG
Pixel 7
Pixel,
Pro
what the
tech
heck were they
specs
thinking?
actually. Because the 7 Pro, that's another device that I've never owned, but if I had to buy an Android, I think the 7 Pro would be mighty nice. Yeah, so 7 Pro. And another thing, the 7 Pro actually has upgrades over the 7A in a lot of them. It's got 120 hertz display, that's really nice. It's got, 12 gigs of RAM, that's nice. It looks like the fast charging is a bit faster, 50% in 30 minutes with 30-watt charging apparently. That's cool. It's got battery. Oh, one thing the Pixel 7a doesn't have is reverse wireless charging.
iPhones don't have that either, though. So
Yeah. Cameras on the Pixel 7 Pro.
Most other phones don't have that either.
Yeah, cameras on the 7 Pro look really nice, and
Everyone
The
loves
whole
their
phone.
photos.
I don't care for Pixel photos more than any other photos.
Pixel
really. I
photos
think-
are so
To me,
stupid.
they look basically
Google
the same.
Pixel camera
I care
pho-
more about video. and
Google
that's the
Pixel
biggest
cameras
difference.
are so overrated.
Yeah, and one other thing that I will say about the 7 Pro, this is what matters to me. Amazing build quality. It is, I believe, all glass, except for the sides. Of
I've
course,
held
that's going to
one.
be, huh?
Yeah, I've held one, and actually, it's very stark contrast compared to what Pixel used to be.
Oh yeah, because
Google turned it around. They've
I mained a Pixel 3. That had great build quality for what it was. Feel in hand was great on that phone. Phone itself, maybe not, but
I've
the
held one
Pixel
before, and
7,
that did not feel tightly put together.
but the Pixel 6 Pro I had for about a week. Best build quality device I've probably used in a long time. Um, Maybe even the best build quality device I've used in a minute, because that's kind of that's kind of my time measurement system. But very nice curve on the edge. I like that a lot about the Pixels. They make the curved edges feel very solid. I'm actually probably gonna pick up a Pixel 6 Pro if I ever need another Android phone.
Well, getting back on to, well, switching gears for a second. What do you guys think about the Pixel Fold?
Pixel Fold. Um, Look, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I think it does one thing that is going to be very important in the long run. It's giving Google a chance in the folding market, because we didn't see, folding phones by anybody but Samsung in the US until now. But now, in the US, not only are there folding phones, with two manufacturers, but both manufacturers are good.
I still don't get the point of a foldable phone, though.
They don't serve much of a purpose, but
It's to get more, real estate whenever they're unfolded, which makes sense. But I think it's only useful on an
You
Android
don't really
because,
gain that much more, though.
yeah, you
well, I
don't.
mean, if you're gonna be, unfolding the whole phone, there's definitely some space to be gained there.
All right, well, Amazon actually released some new products today.
What is it?
So this wasn't included on my topic list since it's pretty boring, but and so we don't even have to talk about this on the podcast if you don't want to, but they released an Echo, a new line of Echoes.
Like the echoes, like the stupid voice assistant crap.
And let's go to my Amazon bookmark. First of all, they have new Echo Buds, which, yay. Don't care.
Yeah, cheap earbuds. Those,
They have a new Echo Show 5, which
dime a
I mean
dozen.
is cool, I
It
guess.
looks the same. What can you change on that?
But Echo Pop,
That thing's kind of cool.
it's the cheapest Echo now. The compact smart speaker with Alexa features full sound that's great for bedrooms and small spaces, and it's small enough to blend in and mighty enough to stand out.
I like the design of that actually.
I do too.
Even,
My mom's
yeah,
even
I think
considering
the
getting
design
one
of
of
that
these. That's how
actually is
cool.
nice.
I really like this design.
I
It's
think
not bad. I'll still take my HomePod Mini.
It's a
Yeah,
cheaper
I think
alternative though, so it's not.
what I like, so previously you had this like kind of stupid design with speakers, but now you're actually going to be hearing, it's going to be firing at you instead of firing around you, which is my issue with the HomePod. It's firing in all directions.
Yeah, I mean, I get, but it's gonna be firing
I
at
don't know,
you, so it makes some practical
I don't like the
sense.
HomePods. I don't like any smart speaker. I think they're kind of stupid.
I'm not the most fond of them either, since Siri's just on my devices. But
Yeah, that
I
for the
like
most
this.
part, I use my HomePod as a general music listening, video watching speaker. But I actually do like how it actually does throw sound throughout the room because I'm not always at my desk.
My issue with the HomePod is I can say, Siri, play this, and no matter what it is, for some reason, half the time it plays rap music. And I'm like, why? Like, it does not understand, the music from my library, is what I'm looking for, not some rap song.
Yeah, it drives me nuts when every time I call out to Siri, because I've got my own downloaded musics and such. Well, also stuff I've bought from iTunes, but jeez, come on, Discord. But it refuses to play anything from music that I purchased. It has to go to Apple Music. And that's fine under some circumstances, but I don't always want it to go to Apple Music. I just want it to play stuff I've bought, and it won't do it. I have to take my phone in, hand it off to the HomePod.
My question is, what happens when these devices become too old to be used? What happens in 10 years when the, 2017, 2018, whatever HomePod actually becomes, too old to be even a music player? Then what are they going to do? Just push a software update to allow Bluetooth connectivity, or just make them even more useless with AirPlay? What happens if one day
they do
Apple
have
ditches
Bluetooth modems,
AirPlay?
right?
They
I'm sure
do.
They have AirPlay. What happens if Apple
Yeah, I would
eventually
think they would
ditches
have
AirPlay?
Bluetooth modems. They just don't use them. It drives me nuts. They put so much hardware into this, and yet they actually software limited. I mean, how long was it
The fact
before
that
we
you
found
have
out
to go
these
through
things had a
Siri to do
temperature and
anything.
humidity sensor?
Almost
Yeah,
2
my
years,
issue
or over
is-
2.5 years, or almost two,
Well-
and two and two and three, two and.
Well, yeah, I think that was more of a, I think that was more of a, statement than a question. But, my thing is, why do you have to go through Siri to do basic tasks? Like, Siri is just not good.
Yeah, like I just find it more convenient to use my phone for stuff.
Like, I'd rather them just allow easy connectivity with a phone, because, connecting to a HomePod with an iPhone is not always the easiest thing to do, because a lot of the times...
For me, it's too easy.
Oh, with the tapping thing?
Yeah, because my phone is the HomePod, the way I position it, it is literally right underneath my two monitors. And you know how close my monitors are to me. So when I put my phone down on my desk, it always triggers the HomePod.
Yeah, what I did was, here's how I fixed that. It kept going off my phone, right? So I took the HomePod, I ripped it out of my setup, and I threw it as far as I could. And I have not used one since.
Yeah,
But I think that's only a
I'd
solution
expect
for
that.
me.
Yeah.
That is a solution technically, but it's just not a, but it's just not a great solution.
Wish you had a better assistant, but Apple refuses to make Siri good.
Siri's
It's
good,
Still
but it's just
always
not.
triggering on my watch.
Siri is good, but it's just not. But it's just that voice assistants alone just aren't that useful.
I guess so.
Yeah, I still don't understand how it keeps triggering on my watch. I don't push the button.
I don't understand. That even happened. I've even seen that happen to one of my teachers once. And that used to happen to me all the time, and it still happens to my grandmother.
I don't know what the deal is, but that's gotten annoying.
It's been an issue on Apple
I
Watches
can't
for
record a video without that thing
years.
triggering anymore.
Yeah, the thing for me, even if I wanted to, I couldn't use Siri on my Apple Watch. The voice call and Siri and dictation microphones on this thing do not work. They're just broken. Now, I guess there's two microphones because the voice memos mic works fine.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I still don't know how they let it get this bad. It was revolutionary when it came out. Now it's like, forget it. Let's leave it behind.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about before we end the show?
Yeah, so you guys all know how bad the Pixel market is, right?
Yes.
So, Google Pixel 7, newest Pixel, right? With a cracked screen.
Yep.
Try and guess how much this thing's going for.
$400?
$178.
I'm guessing too high or too low, but not a reasonable price. What?
$178.
The cheapest.
Oh gosh!
And the crack is basically exclusive to the corner.
What the? Maybe I'll buy that.
Ouch!
These phones, they're nice phones, but these things have got no resale. Right? A Google Pixel 6a with, let me see, it says damaged in the description. Let me see. Oh, very, light cracking. $89. Without a SIM tray, but $89. And then there's a 5A with similar damage, actually worse damage, it looks like, for $5 less. No, $10 less. Pixel 6 Pro 256GB in cloudy white, $145 with a cracked screen. And that is 256 gig.
Oh jeez.
I'm guessing Pixels don't have much value.
$80 Pixel 6 Pro. What's wrong with this? Oh, yeah, that is bad. There's a huge black mark on the top left of the screen. That is bad.
I know an iPhone 13 Pro costs a lot more than that.
13 Pros still go for like $700, $800, $900. I was looking at those actually.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
$100 6 Pro.
Google doesn't manage to keep their products at high value, as my Chromebook is now, as my exact Chromebook, which was like $600 back, brand new.
Well, we know how much Google really values their own other projects.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to just leave it behind the dumpster.
30.
The phones might be good.
$80. My Chromebook is now worth $8,600. Over $600 brand new back in 2018 is now worth $80.
Well, to be fair, that's kind of expected that a Chromebook is not going to be worth all that many dollars after like 5 years, 6 years, whatever.
But still, though, Google just is terrible at keeping their products with having value. As I even got my S10 Plus that works just fine back in August for $80.
Not a bad price.
It was a
Yeah, there is
pretty good.
Androids lose value quickly. I'm looking at a Surface Duo for $80. That's locked on AT&T wireless.
maybe I'll get. Oh my Surface.
It says damage. There's no damage on the damn thing. Damaged. Read details. There's not a bit of damage on this thing. This thing is in perfect condition.
It's $80.
The software is what's damaged.
What did Microsoft do?
That was such a bad product. $1,400 brand new. How long did it take to drop to below 100? Oh my.
Yeah, their Androids they don't hold value.
They do not.
I don't know. I think that.
Let me look up a Microsoft Surface Duo on eBay, as I might have to get one.
If it's that cheap, especially.
Oh, and I think that they're kind of cool devices to have. Useful, maybe not. But
Not the
They're not
Duos.
typically that. All right, read $150. Okay, then. Oh, damaged OLED. Okay, no, no. Okay, 300 bucks for this one.
Oh, I found a $188 Pixel 7 Pro. Looks like someone got a little bit angry and smashed the screen in with something now. But $188 for a 7 Pro. $226 for one with a cracked screen. Yeah, Google phones just...
Oh yeah, I found a Surface Duo for $75 for parts.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Then OnePlus 8 with a cracked screen and a cracked back, $85.
I think OnePlus's values have really tanked thanks to, them basically stop catering towards the U.S.
Yeah.
They're just not good phones for the U.S. market anymore. So sad.
I found what
I was
might be the...
considering one once upon a time.
I think I found what might be the best value Pixel phone, the 6 Pro, 141, no cracks on the screen, just a very light black spot in the top right corner.
Ew.
Oh, maybe the back is cracked a bit. Oh yeah, the back has a small crack in it.
And this just goes to show you how badly even expensive Android phones hold their value.
Apparently the battery health is 99 also, and that thing hasn't been sold in what looks to be
How do they check that? Because Pixel makes it extremely difficult.
I don't know. It looks like it's been up there since August though. I'm gonna try and send an offer on this if it lets me, but that's definitely a phone that I want to purchase at one point. Pixel 6 Pro.
Yeah, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about other than how badly Android phones age?
I don't believe so.
I got something.
What is it?
What's up?
Two somethings, actually.
What are they?
Well, first up,
Oh, Tabby might like this. Or no, we'll like the. This is the one that Tabby would really like, but yeah.
The iPad Air.
yep.
Your camera's frozen on my end though. Loading now.
Yeah, my internet sucks. It's raining here at the moment.
Yeah, it makes sense. But
yeah, I'm holding up my iPad Air.
yeah, question. What was that device that you purchased from 2013?
That's the one that you would really like, that you'll really like, Tabby.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, actually, before I get to that, can I mention that I like the
Your
hardware
camera's
of
frozen
this,
again.
but yeah, I like the hardware of my iPad, but something else is absolutely terrible with it.
Software?
It's garbage. The software is garbage.
iPadOS is not bad software, Alpha.
Have you
It's
used
not
an
good
actual
either.
Android tablet from Samsung? I know I'm of the unpopular opinion on this, but I think Samsung's implementation of Android on a tablet is much better than iPadOS.
Ew, no, that's not
It
true.
needs
I
to
can
be better.
understand that. I can understand that with DeX and all, but I don't really like Samsung tablets all that much.
Not
for
even
the most
talking
part.
DeX.
I just don't like how the
Oh my
icons
gosh,
look,
Alpha.
and how they
Apple
handle
being
touch
the
on
company focusing on design, the software just doesn't feel well designed. It feels clunky. It feels like a mash between iOS and macOS, but when the process of mashing was happening, people didn't really have the best idea, or there wasn't any confidence to it. It doesn't feel Apple.
It feels Apple to me.
I'm not impressed with the software. I think it was better on my older iPads, the iPad Air, no, not the iPad Air, the iPad 4. I think the software on that was better.
Ooh, no. Oh my, oh, no, iOS 10
And
is
this is
not
saying,
better.
this is coming from someone who focuses on newer software, not older.
What's that second device, though?
I'm just not impressed with the software on this thing.
Yeah. Get that?
I'd rather buy a Samsung tablet after this.
Yeah.
Because, nope. I don't even know if there's a software team developing iPadOS at this point, because from what we've seen in the past few years, they are absolutely lazy when it comes to adding features to it. And just me using the software, it doesn't feel optimized, it doesn't feel well designed.
Yeah.
It's confusing, especially when trying to move apps and use the, slide over,
The stupid
two-app
multitasking thing.
multitasking thing. It's
I really like that feature, and I
It
use
doesn't
it
feel as
every day.
optimized as Android.
But again, I personally like
I did not expect to
iPadOS.
say this, but yeah, there needs to be massive improvement with this, because from what I'm experiencing, nobody's confident with what's going on in terms of the design aspects of this. It boggles my mind, but I'm not enjoying the software on this thing. That and Touch ID sucks too. I'm sorry, this thing should not have Touch ID.
I agree.
So
I mean, it's like about the same price as like an
yeah,
iPhone
hardware is
13
great,
with
but
Face ID, but
yeah, not impressed with this.
What is the Apple product released in June of 2013?
All right, and then that
Alpha?
other product.
probably an Apple TV or
I
something.
know what.
Hopefully my
it is.
screen doesn't freeze up, but here it comes.
Yeah, I kind of expected that.
Yeah, because I
I
convinced
have one of
Alpha
those
to get
things
that.
too, but I don't use it.
I convinced Alpha to get an Airport Extreme. Or no, an Airport Time
This isn't
Cap.
Do
the
with that,
extreme.
then.
This is the time capsule.
Oh yeah, that's what I convinced Alpha to get.
That's nice. What are you gonna do with that thing? You actually
Yeah, this is
using
the-
it or?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I told Alpha
So
about
It's
how
my
they used to be used
archive
as.
server.
I told Alpha
You
about how
need,
Apple
like,
made
a-
a dedicated server, and he was like, "Oh, that's actually more consumer friendly." And Alpha was like, "Oh." So I
you
guess
need
he got
to have
one.
that thing like on the same network, or like, do you need to be on that thing's network to use it?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
Though actually, I discovered something very weird. The Wi-Fi router that my house is using is much newer than this thing, but the range of that is worse.
Yeah.
Well, when
This thing has much better Wi-Fi range than that. I can walk out to the end of the driveway. Only then the signal starts to get weak. I can be at the other end of the house. I'm still full strength.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Anyways, you guys ready to finish this off?
Yeah.
yes, I am.
Well, I've got nothing else. So,
All right. As always, thank you all for having a wonderful season 2 of the iTunes Fanboy Podcast. As always, we hope you all enjoyed this episode. And as always, I'm Teddy Maggart from the iTunes Fanboy.
I'm Tabby Cat or Tabby Pears or whatever people call me.
my name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
And as always, we are saying goodbye for now, and we will see you in the next season.